So we're diving into Exodus 40, and you might think it's just a bunch of ancient instructions, but it's so much more than that. This is the final assembly manual for one of history's most famous structures. It's the exact moment a divine blueprint becomes a physical reality.
So let me ask you this. Imagine you're handed a set of plans from a divine architect. There's zero room for error, no space to get creative. What actually happens when you follow those plans perfectly, down to the very last detail? Well, that's the big question at the heart of this whole chapter. And it all kicks off right here, with a final, super specific set of commands. Before anyone lifts a hammer or hangs a curtain, Moses gets the ultimate to-do list from the Lord. See, this isn't just about construction anymore. This is about the inauguration. And check out the precision here. This was not a casual, hey, start whenever you're ready kind of project. No, the command was explicit. On the first day of the first month of the second year. Right from the get-go, this whole thing is about divine timing and absolute order.
Okay, so the instructions basically break down into these 4 big stages. First, you set up the structure itself. Second, you put all the holy objects inside. Third, you make the whole place and everything in it sacred. You anoint it. And then finally, you prepare the people who are actually going to serve there. It's a complete roadmap for creating a holy space from scratch.
Now, at the very heart of all this is one particular space, the Holy of Holies. You can think of it as the command center, the most sacred spot on earth, and it's designed specifically to hold the Ark of the Testimony. What's really interesting is that the entire assembly process starts from this sacred center and works its way out.
All right, so the divine instructions are in. Now the spotlight swings completely over to Moses. This next part is all about execution. It's watching him meticulously turn God's words into a real, tangible, physical place.
So the very first thing they do, it's the most critical step of all. They bring in the Ark of the Testimony, which is the symbolic presence of God, and they hang that special veil to separate it, creating that inner sanctum, the Holy of Holies. And right here we get a phrase that becomes the drumbeat of this entire chapter. This isn't just some throwaway detail. It's the core message. It tells us that Moses isn't guessing, he's not taking any creative liberties. Every single action is a direct, faithful response to a divine command. It's all about perfect obedience.
From that inner sanctum, the assembly moves out into the next room, the holy place. And the placement is so specific. The table for the showbread goes on the north side, and the golden candlestick, the menorah, is set up right across from it on the south side. You get this perfect, symmetrical balance.
And there it is again. We see the pattern. The table is placed exactly where God said to put it. The candlestick is arranged precisely how it was ordered. This repetition is totally on purpose. It's meant to hammer home this perfect, unbroken chain of command, from divine instruction to human action.
All right, the final pieces of furniture are now being moved into position. The small golden altar for burning incense gets placed just outside the veil, and that big bronze altar for burnt offerings is set up in the courtyard, right at the entrance to the tent. The whole space is now laid out. And the pattern holds right to the very end. Every hook, every curtain, every sacred object is in its designated spot. The physical blueprint is now complete, executed perfectly, down to the very last detail.
But just building the structure? That's not enough. Now we get to this crucial transition, the space itself, and the people who are going to serve in it, they have to be transformed. They have to be consecrated, set apart as holy, and ready for a divine purpose.
And this transformation happens through this amazing ritual. Moses takes this special anointing oil and he applies it to everything, the tent, the ark, the table, the candlestick. This act basically says these are no longer ordinary objects. They are now set apart for God. The altar, especially, becomes most holy, the main point of contact between humanity and the divine.
And the consecration isn't just for the building, it's for the people too. Aaron, the high priest, and his sons are brought to the entrance of the tabernacle. They go through a ritual washing with water, and then they're dressed in these special, holy garments designed just for their service. It's a whole process of purification and dedication. And yep, you guessed it, once again, the blueprint is followed without a single misstep. The washing, the anointing, the clothing, none of it was improvised. This human preparation was just as much a part of the original, detailed command as putting up the tent poles.
And with that, the human part of this whole equation comes to an end. Every single instruction has been followed. Every task is complete. This is that quiet moment, that feeling of completion right before the story hits its dramatic climax.
And the text just states it with such simple, profound finality. So Moses finished the work. After all the intricate details, all the commands, all that repetition, it just boils down to those 5 words. The work is done, the space is ready, and now there's a pause, and then a reaction.
Because now we get the payoff. This is the answer to our opening question. What happens when the divine blueprint is followed perfectly? Well, the divine architect shows up to move in.
And then it happens. A cloud, a physical manifestation of God's presence, covers the tent. And the text says the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. This isn't just a symbol. It's described as a tangible, overwhelming presence that just completely occupies the space that was so carefully prepared for it.
And if you really want to understand the sheer power of this moment, get this. Moses himself, the guy who spoke with God face to face, who got the law, who oversaw this entire project, even he could not go inside. The divine glory was just so immense, so potent, it created its own boundary.
Now this presence, it wasn't just a one-time thing for the grand opening. It became a permanent fixture, a constant guide for the people of Israel. By day, it looked like a cloud sitting over the tabernacle, and by night, it transformed into a pillar of fire, so everyone could see it. And this guide had a very practical purpose. It was basically their divine GPS. Whenever the cloud lifted up from the tabernacle, the entire nation knew it was time to pack up and move. If the cloud stayed put, they stayed put. Their entire journey through the wilderness was now being directed from this holy center.
So in the end, Exodus 40 gives us this really powerful equation. Precise, faithful human effort creates a space that is then filled by a real, tangible divine presence. It kind of leaves us to wonder, doesn't it? What's the connection between our own careful preparation and the potential for a divine encounter?